The final days of 2024 have seen a number of aviation accidents, from some near misses, such as in Canada, a miraculous rescue in Kazakhstan, to an accident that shook the world in South Korea. One of the worst civil aviation disasters to hit South Korea in modern history. Roughly 179 people are dead after a flight from Bangkok carrying 181 passengers and crew crashed at the Muan airport in the early hours of Sunday. The second such crash in the past week. Only 2 crew members have been rescued so far. Footage of the final moments before the crash show the Boeing 737-800 attempting a belly landing before skidding down the runway with no visible landing gear, slamming into the airport's perimeter wall and bursting into an explosion of flames. While the blaze was put off, the wreckage is unrecognizable, making search and rescue a difficult endeavor. Officials have revealed that of the 175 passengers aboard the flight, 173 were Korean nationals and 2 were Thai nationals. Jeju Airlines has issued an apology, with the CEO taking full responsibility for the tragedy and bowing deeply before the nation in a televised address. Taking to X, Thailand's Prime Minister has also expressed her condolences and ordered a probe into the disaster.
먼저 제주항공을 아껴주시는 모든 분들께 머리 숙여 사과의 말씀을 드립니다. 무엇보다 이번 사고로 인해서 유명을 달리하신 탑승객분들과 유가족분들께 깊은 애도와 사과의 말씀을 올립니다. 현재로서는 사고의 원인을 가늠하기 어렵고 관련 정부 기관의 공식적인 조사 발표를 기다려야 하는 상황입니다.
The big question, the cause of the crash remains a mystery. While a probe is ongoing, the South Korean Transport Ministry has revealed that a bird strike warning was issued moments before the crash. Visuals also show the airplane's landing gear reportedly failed to deploy. The crash comes as South Korea continues to face political turmoil, with the third acting president taking office in the past 2 months. While families nervously await for answers, all eyes will remain on South Korea to see how it navigates past this tragedy. With Disha Bagchi, NDTV Bureau Report.
Andreas Spaeth, international aviation expert from Germany, is joining us at this moment. Andreas, this hasn't been a very good week as far as the aviation industry is concerned. What are the, concerns that you are seeing at this moment with respect to these crashes which have taken place not just in Azerbaijan and now in South Korea as well?
It was really a shock to see this morning and to see these footage, these videos over and over again, as this looks so unbelievable. And indeed, it's shocking that these things have been happening just in the past few days, after another extremely safe year that 2024 turned out to be. But now we sadly know better that this year ends on a very tragic note in aviation.
This year is, though, ending in a tragic note, but, what are the lessons, if I may ask you, and your first impressions on what could, in fact, the airlines and the aviation sector need to improve upon? Because though it still remains the safest mode of transport, but these visuals do put a fear in people's minds.
Yeah, I think it's impossible to really compare the different accidents we've seen in the past few days. Although bizarrely, it's a bit similar how actually even the tails are preserved in the same way in both the Kazakhstan crash and the Korea crash today, but the Kazakhstan crash obviously has seen some kind of military interference, whereas today in Korea, it was a pure and very sad and tragic aviation accident. So that's a big difference from the first place. And of course, we need to look especially at the Korean case here. It's really bizarre right now, and it's very hard to explain the exact sequence of events. And that's, I think, the first thing, hopefully, the flight data and the cockpit voice recorder will provide us with very shortly, I hope, because these are actually installed in the tail of the aircraft, the same actually with the Azerbaijani aircraft, where the tail was preserved, which in both cases lets us hope that here the recorders will be almost undamaged, so it will be easy to read out the data contained on their chips inside.
But what are your first impressions, Andres? Because, when you are seeing, like you said, these visuals are absolutely shocking. It seems that the plane has made a landing, and then it just goes on till the time it hits that wall. What are your initial thoughts about this? And as I said, the aviation sector across the globe is growing. There are more planes in the sky than ever. What are the basics that possibly airlines and aviation sector need to go back to and see that we can minimize such incidents?
I mean, one thing that's often discussed in aviation is the overrun areas behind of runways, at the end of runways, in order to give planes which are veering off the runway and overshooting the runway's end, giving them a safe space to come to a halt. And that's a very big initiative by some international aviation bodies. And today in Korea, we've seen how tragic results can be if there is not ample space for overruns, because today we can see there's big obstacles like walls, fences, and other installations almost right at the end of the runway. But other than that, I have to warn to take early conclusions. And these cases we've seen, especially Azerbaijan, the one that crashed in Kazakhstan, and then today's Korea case, they are totally different. So first we need to actually establish what really happened in Korea. And the sequence starts much earlier than what we see in the video you're repeating here as well, because there's also other footage on social media where we can clearly see the plane suffered a compressor stall in the right engine on approach. And that actually has been coming right after a warning about bird strikes in the airport area. And we also see some pictures, some photos from the accident site, where actually in the background you see huge flocks of birds migrating in the area. So the threat of birds is very real there.
In the end, conclusion, let me ask you this. Air travel still remains, of course, one of the most safest mode of transportation. Going forward, for a lot of people, those who are apprehensive after seeing this, just tell our viewers, how this year, before hitting these couple of tragedies, how this year has been and what is the outlook as far as the air travel is concerned.
I've been covering and following aviation security and safety since over 40 years. And it's definitely a statistical, kind of a statistical pattern that happens from time to time. So usually in the last 2 years, we had extremely safe years. I think last year we had two or less, in a single-digit number of people, of fatalities in commercial jet aircraft. Even there was a year without any single failure. If you look at Indian roads alone, how many road accidents and how many victims you have to mourn there. Global aviation that will actually carry 5 billion people plus next year in 2025 is a hugely safely affair, which still, of course, doesn't prevent tragic single things to happen like we saw today and last week. But it's too early to take any conclusions from that. But I'm warning to take the wrong conclusions. And I can only emphasize how extremely safe commercial aviation still remains, even after these two very unfortunate accidents this week. And I'm still feeling very safe as a frequent traveler, flying myself quite often.
Thank you so much, Andreas, for joining us at this moment.